Welcome to newspaper analysis session for the day July 7th. So topics that we are going to cover today. So we will try to see some important provisions of the intensive revision of electoral laws in the Bihar. So what is the criticism which we have already done. So we will try to see some sections related to that and we will try to see anything important aspect related to that. And then we need to revise about the advanced medium combat aircraft and Tejas aircrafts that are in the news. Previously, we have already did this thing. So India is going to develop the fifth generation fighter aircraft. We have discussed this thing. So here I have told you HAL has won the bid and it is trying to develop this fifth generation aircraft with the private participation. So again the same thing is in the news because of some interview. So we need to revise these fourth and the fifth generation aircrafts. And then indigenously developing pressurized heavy water reactor. So we are going to develop indigenously. We are going to construct these pressurized heavy water reactors. So we will try to understand what are these PHWRs. Where does it come? So we will try to understand the big picture of that. And then BRICS meeting is going on. So what is the discussion that is going on? Who are the members of this BRICS? So we will try to understand some of the key points related to this BRICS as well. And then plant treaty, okay, plant genetic resources, international treaty on the plant genetic resources for food and the agriculture. This is one of the important provision to conserve the seeds, diverse plant varieties in order to maintain the biodiversity. So they are talking about one amendment in this thing. So there is a concern associated with that. So what is that amendment? What is the purpose of this treaty? We will try to discuss. Great Nicobar project is going on and national sports policy. This is the expected question either in the GS2 or GS4 this year. National sports policy, very important. And or it has to be mentioned. If not directly, we should mention these things in the mains because this has so much importance, sports policy. So we will try to study this thing. So we will start with this thing. Okay. HAL Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. This is one of the major public sector company. So this is the company which is playing a major role in developing the aircrafts for the Indian Air Force. But this company is causing so much of delays in manufacturing the aircrafts. This is the context. We need so many aircrafts. Firstly, we need both quantity as well as the quality. Quality in terms of the recent upgraded 5th generation fighter aircrafts we need it. Currently, we are still running only 4th generation fighter aircraft. 4.5 is still yet to be operationalized. So, we are running 4th while China has already developed the 5th generation fighter aircraft and they have also shared with the Pakistan and other countries like USA, Russia, all these countries have the 5th generation fighter aircrafts. So it is very important for us also to develop this indigenously with India, local technology to develop this 5th generation fighter aircrafts. Apart from this, we are also running some kind of capacity constraints. So we need somewhere at least every year 30 aircrafts to be manufactured in India for our defense purposes. But HAL is building them slowly. So this is the purpose point we need to revise. So HAL Hindustan Aeronautics Limited is developing the aircrafts. This context, but they are delaying the things. So here we need to understand the same thing. The Indian Air Force plans to induct 7 squadrons of AMCA. AMCA means 5th generation aircrafts. And 120 Tejas Mk2 over 15 years procurement will include all these things. See, we need on an average 28 to 30 aircrafts. But we are always running in constraints because the manufacturing capacity is not good enough. They are also running in delays. This is the point that you have to understand. Now, see, understand what is this 4th generation and 5th generation. Okay, Tejas Mk1, Tejas Mk2. See here, this is the 4th generation, single engine, lightweight, multi-role fighter aircraft developed by the Hindustan Aeronautical Limited for the Indian Air Force. It is designed for the air combat and the offensive air support equipped with the modern avionics and the weapon system. Just simple one line. Then you will come to the 4.5th generation, that is a Tejas Mark II. The LCA Tejas Mark II is an advanced version of the Mk1, featuring more powerful engines, advanced avionics, increased payload capacity and extended range. So basically it is an advanced version. See here, currently prototyping is underway. It will also come in the 2026. So we are still running the 4th generation. 5th generation is yet to be shared with India, and the engine also we use GE engine. Right? We take it from the which country? The GE engines. We have discussed this thing. So we are also trying to develop the indigenous engines also under the project. I also forgot the name. I have mentioned some project where we are trying to develop the indigenous Kaveri engine. Okay, Kaveri engine, right? Is it the Kaveri engine only? I'm not wrong. So GE engine is the one we are currently using, importing from the USA, but under the indigenous technology, indigenous Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, we are developing the indigenous engine that is called the Kaveri engine. Yes. 4th generation, 4.5 generation, GE engine, Kaveri engine. These 4 words clear? Now we need advance, 5th generation. That is having the stealth technology. Stealth technology means they are not visible to the radars. Okay, they can even carry the nuclear bombs. So these fighter aircrafts, they can. So currently we have launched using these fighter aircrafts only. We have launched attacks on the air bases of the Pakistan or the whatever the extremist camps that are there in the POK region, within the India area, within the parts of the Pakistan. So there we have launched the military attacks, counter military attacks. Okay. So we need these aircrafts. They can carry both conventional missiles as well as a non-conventional missile. Okay. They can even carry the nuclear warhead. So BrahMos can also be carried using this aircraft. So BrahMos can be carried both from the air, water and the land. So all the 3 variants are there for the BrahMos. BrahMos is a which missile? Ballistic or cruise missile? Now fundamentals you should not miss. This is the most fundamental aspect. That means you are not revising. BrahMos is a cruise missile, supersonic cruise missile that can be easily manual. It can be made to hit at particular precise location. Ballistic missiles cannot be made to hit one particular location. Okay, they are just use the rocket. Okay, you will pump the rocket, make the energy, okay, to travel in a particular direction, then release it. It will just go and fall one place. Cruise missiles, you will direct them. You have to revise. So we can use these aircrafts to launch both the conventional missiles, non-conventional missiles, ballistic missiles and the cruise missiles. Okay, go back home and revise these things. What are those ballistic missiles? We have done it very elaborately. I have gave you what kind of ballistic missiles we have, what kind of cruise missiles we have, and then we have discussed this BrahMos also. Okay, now 5th generation advanced aircraft. Again, that is also going to be developed by this HAL, but in private participation. HAL alone would not be developing it. So we are also encouraging the private participation. So combined public-private partnership with the PPP support, they are going to develop this 5th generation fighter aircrafts. Okay, simple question asked in the 2022 prelims was, okay, they have given Rafale jet, or in one of the options, India holds 5th generation fighter aircraft. Simply if you eliminate that option, okay, you would have arrived at an answer. That's the reason I am saying always your fundamentals should be clear. Your prelims will not be stopped, or your mains hall ticket will not be stopped if your basics are clear. Your prelims attempt will be compromised only when you do mistakes in the easy questions, the questions which I am asking you in the class. If you do mistakes in the difficult questions, nothing is going to cause a problem. Even I would not be knowing so many questions from the prelims. Every year they are posting, okay, even from my core geography, there would be questions where I have to search what would have been the right answer. That would be there. Even faculties, they sit and they'll search and comment the answers. So it is not expected from the UPSC students to answer all those answers in those 2 hours in the exam environment. But fundamental things, if you make it mistake, then you will not be able to clear the prelims. Revise again and again. Okay, so that is the most important. If you don't revise, whatever we discuss in the class, everything will go waste. Even if you visit the class 1 hour consistently for 1 year, you will not get any gain. Everything you will forget. So why to waste these many hours? Totally so far you might have invested already 50 hours by far. So if you would have invested 10 more hours for the revision, okay, so you would have got the very good consolidated content. Okay, so do not waste the time. All of your hours will go waste. So revise that thing. See here. So this is a twin engine stealth aircraft. So that is a single engine. This is a twin engine stealth aircraft and internal weapons bay, divertless supersonic intake, capability can carry, see here 1500 kg of the payload internally and 5500 kg externally. Okay, so 15,000 crore project. So the defense minister has approved. So we have also seen yesterday Defense Acquisition Council. Who is the chairman of the Defense Acquisition Council, which can approve the project? We have seen 1 lakh crore projects worth has been approved. Who is the chairman of the Defense Acquisition Council, which you have seen yesterday? I know anyway. You guys will forget. Okay, not Rajanath Minister, Defense Minister. Okay, it's a Defense Minister. Currently, he is the Defense Minister. Okay, so revise. So this is again very fundamental question. I am telling you, whoever in the preparation, they'll definitely answer that thing. Okay, so revise. Some aspects are repeating. Now, whatever the main thing that we are going to do for the acquiring, so that is a prime body, Defense Acquisition Council. When you do not know that chairman, then definitely you will struggle. So you have to by heart. Okay, so at least from today, whatever the things that we are doing, revise. 4th generation, 5th generation clear, 4th generation single engine, 5th generation double engine. Okay, so fighter aircrafts. Which is the company currently is selling the aircrafts? HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. So what is the engine? GE engine, which we import from the USA. Okay, and then we are also working on the Kaveri engine, which is the indigenously being built, manufactured. Clear so far? Now see the first article. See, there is a concerns that once the electoral revision roll, whatever your voter ID card is there, so whose name is there in the voter list, they will get your voter card, and then you will go and you will cast your voting. Your name should be present in the electoral roll. So the revisions of these electoral roll will happen every time, so that some people might cross 18 years of age. Okay, some people might die. So accordingly, we need the revision of the electoral rolls. Some people maintain 2 rolls. Okay, so those fake maintenance of the rolls should be eliminated. So this is a continuous process. In the October, there is a Bihar elections. So now Election Commission has announced a revision of these electoral rolls. But the opposition is saying there are hardly 2 or 3 months, and Election Commission has mentioned some of the documents to show you are the Indian citizen, so that your name is enrolled in this electoral rolls. But within those documents that are being provided, there is no mention of the Aadhaar card as well as the ration card, which is being held by the most of the eligible people in India. License, passport, these may not be held by everyone. 10th class certificates, birth certificates may not be there with most of the people. So that is the criticism being shown here. Okay, so if once I keep you out of this thing, so then your main strength to cast the vote, I am sidelining it. So this is going to cause huge problems. So that is a criticism. Now this is a point. See here, Section 21 subclause 3 of the Representation of the People's Act empowers the Election Commission of India to direct a fresh revision of the electoral laws. This can be done intensively, summarily, or through the combination of the both. So this is the main point. So documentation, totally 11 documents. So they have given the deadline to submit it. Okay. So but the people are saying there is a short timeline, and the people are not having much awareness, and there can be fears of the deletion of the name. So this is causing a kind of criticism against the Election Commission also. But Election Commission should maintain the trust deficit. No process is being violated. We are following the principle of rule of law. Same process are being followed for the everyone. This is what the Election Commission has to prove, has to justify. Because we have seen other issues also with the Election Commission, allegations. All these are the allegations. This is one thing. Another thing in the Mumbai, in the Maharashtra elections, they have mentioned after 5 o'clock, suddenly the voter percentage has increased. How come the suddenly voter percentage increased after the evening timings? So they wanted the CCTV cameras footage and all. So now what are the allegations? They say Election Commission has added some of the names, fake names. Okay, and evenings they came and they have casted their votes. That's the reason they have won. This is what the allegations done by the other party, opposition. So they should be able to release the data. Okay, whose names are there, who has casted the votes, and those CCTV camera footage. If it is being demanded by the opposition, it has to be properly submitted. Okay, so this is the second allegation. Okay, then third allegation is regarding the EVMs. So EVMs are the machines through which you use to cast your vote. Once you cast your vote, then you will see the paper. Okay, so that paper you will not hold with yourself, it will fall back into that again the system. Okay, so the people will say, so we need to retally the EVM like a EVM process as well as this VVPATs. Okay, whatever the paper, that receipt that you are getting, so you need to re-verify these things. But if you recount all the paper, so again it will be a kind of manual counting. Currently we do the electronic counting, everything is recorded in these EVMs. So you don't have to do the manually, how many votes have been casted, which party got this votes and all. It becomes very hectic process. 140 crore population, you can't check all the numbers, papers. Okay, this can cause the confusion as well, right? But the opposition is saying this thing, so there should be the possibility that at least randomly some of the verification should happen. Okay, something. Okay, maybe you are taking one polling booth and trying to check the tally. If everything is same, then no issues. Check anything. Opposition party should be given an opportunity to pick up any one booth and check the tally. If the tally is matching, then these things. So what are the allegations about the voter list, and then about the sudden rise in the casting votes, okay, and also the data like voter list, the process that is followed, and also the CCTV camera, those data lists. And the third issue is about the EVMs and the VVPATs. And the fourth primary issue regarding all these things is the election commission is appointed by the president with the committee system, but that committee system is having the primacy of judiciary or executive? Executive, because it consists of prime minister, leader of opposition, and the another one person, is it chief justice? If this is chief justice, then it would have been majority. Okay, how can the government hold the majority? Okay, if there is chief justice, leader of opposition, then prime minister alone cannot decide. So it should have been the member from the government. It is the home minister. Home minister only? Yeah. Yeah, it is home minister. Okay. So government can decide 2%. If any 2% person vote in the favor of one person, so anyway they can go forward. So they wanted to be included Supreme Court judge, but government has not done that. It has to be changed. You will also read in your polity, some of the important bodies expenditure is always charged expenditure, no discussion. Okay, without discussion voting will be done. Okay, so their money is not dependent on the government. Every year the money has to come. But the same is not true with the election commission expenditure. Okay, it is not charged expenditure. So these are the 5 major problems. I'll again ask you. What are the 5 major problems? Voter ID verification. Second thing, data, CCTV cameras, okay, EVMs, and then election commission appointment, and the next one is expenditure, charged expenditure. 5 points. You should be able to remember on these things. So that's why only when you have this proper trust on the election commission, only then people will go and vote. Then only these things will increase. Your election, your turnout will increase, voting turnout. Okay, all else these accusations will go on happening. Clear so far? Can we move to the other topic? Now see, pressurized heavy water reactor. So where does it come? So we are trying to generate nuclear energy. For the nuclear energy, we need nuclear reactors. Nuclear reactors are one such reactors where you use nuclear energy or any like a uranium as a fuel. Okay, so we use those elements from the atomic table which are on the higher side, whose atomic number is very high. Okay, so these are highly unstable. So we will pick up such elements like uranium especially. We will also use thorium but not at this stage. Okay, so primarily we use the uranium, so which is highly unstable. So we will try to break its nucleus. When its nucleus is broken, so nucleus is held together, okay, with some kind of energy. So any kind of instability, this nucleus will break and energy will be released. We utilize that energy. When the energy is released, because of the radiation, so much of the heat will be generated and energy is used. Okay, so we are using this uranium as a energy in our nuclear reactors. So there will be some reactors. So here we use uranium as a fuel. Now these reactors can be of different types. There are light water reactors, pressurized water reactors, pressurized heavy water reactors, advanced heavy water reactors, fast breeder reactors. Okay, so like this, there are various reactors that are used to generate the nuclear energy. Fuel will be same thing, primarily uranium. In this, the natural uranium composition is somewhere only 0.5 to 7%, which is uranium. When I mine and take out the uranium, so it has uranium 235 plus uranium 238. This is waste product for me. This is the one which is used as a fuel, but this percentage is only 0.7. 235. So we have discussed about the uranium enrichment. What is uranium enrichment? Uranium enrichment means enrichment of this one, removal of reduction of this thing and enrichment of this thing. So we need to just take it to the 3 to 5% to use it to generate nuclear energy. Then we will keep this thing here, and so we have nucleus. Okay, here in the nucleus you have protons plus neutrons, and it is surrounded by the electrons. Electrons are negatively charged, protons are positive charged, and neutrons are the neutral charge. Right? So unlike charges, positive and negative charges can be held together, but same and neutral charges, to hold together you need a lot of energy. So there is a lot of energy that is going on in the nucleus of the uranium to keep this nucleus stable. Now you are sending the neutron here. So you are sending neutrons to create the destability here, and you need only limited amount of neutrons. So basically you will send the neutrons, but not with very high speed. You will try to slow down those things. So you will also use the moderators here. Apart from the reactors, the second thing that you will use here are the moderators. Usually heavy water is used as a moderators. Okay. So you will have water, which generally they will make it as a heavy water after going through some reactions. So that heavy water will be used as a moderator, and then you have the coolant, and apart from this you will also have the control rods. So all this equipment here, so I am sending the neutrons, okay, and then these neutrons has to be slowed down actually to hit the uranium. So I will be using the moderators. Once the heat is generated, so here there will be water. This water will become very hot. So from here I will be sending this water. I will be sending to water to another container. I will be sending this water to another container. From here the steam will be generated, and this is used to generate the energy. So this is called coolant. The same water. Now water will become hot here because huge amount of energy is being generated. We are creating this stability. Water will become hot, and this water will be transferred here, and from here the steam will be used. Now here there will be control rods also. If you are sending excess neutrons, okay, it might lead to the blast. We don't want that thing. You don't want to send so much of the neutrons and create so much of the energy. We want controlled nuclear reactions. So excess neutrons are taken up by these control rods. Okay. So this is how your nuclear energy is generated. This is the pressurized heavy water reactor. So you are using the heavy water here, and in these cases the enrichment of the uranium required is very minimal. in this pressurized heavy water reactor. In the light water reactor, you need a lot of enrichment. In the pressurized heavy water reactor, the enrichment is not that heavy. We are saying heavy water. So moderator and coolant are the heavy waters. So pressurized heavy water reactors are being used to generate the energy. They are easy to develop. So we have the technology and indigenous. So far we used to take the even pressurized heavy water reactors from the France, Russia, USA, these things. Now we are indigenously developing it in the Gujarat. 700 megawatts. Our goal is to triple the nuclear power development. Okay. So this is the information so far. We are also developing one more fast breeder reactor at the Kalpakam. I am not going into that deliberately and intentionally. First I want you to digest this thing. So we have discussed whatever we have discussed. I want you to digest that thing after revision. See here once. See what? The pressurized heavy water reactor is a type of nuclear reactor that uses a heavy water as both coolant and the moderator. Heavy water reactors are known for their ability to use a natural uranium as a fuel. You don't need much of the enrichment. So 700 megawatt pressurized heavy water reactor at the Kakrapar, Gujarat. Very important. They will ask in the prelims. This year they can ask on the nuclear energy. Okay, can you see here? See, like I told you, there are the control rods here. So from here the water is being sent to here this year. Okay, so the water that is being sent here, okay, there is already the very hot. That is called as a coolant. Okay, coolant means it is not only just cooling the system, it is basically the liquid that is carrying the heat. That's what we mean by the coolant. It is being transferred into some other place, and from there the steam is being generated and then it is supplied to the system to generate the electricity. Okay, so here you have the moderator, again heavy water. Can you see here? There is a heavy water in this. Uranium is used as a fuel, and then you will try to send this neutrons. Okay, only when any of this system get destroyed and neutrons are going in an unlimited manner. Okay, so then this causes the destruction. Okay, simple thing. Uranium nucleus, simple thing, just revise. So how the process happens? NPCIL, Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited. Okay, so they will be involved in this generation of this nuclear energy. So what they are doing? Extract the uranium. Uranium has a nucleus. Every atom has a nucleus. Okay, we also in our cells have the nucleus. So nucleus has the protons plus neutrons. Okay, when you extract, this consists of uranium-235 plus uranium-238. This is waste product for us. This is the one which generates the energy. Right? So, this nucleus is unstable. You will need to send the neutron. Okay, then it will break. Once it is broken, energy will be released. All this thing happens in the reactor. This is called as a nuclear reactor. So in the nuclear reactor, so I am using a place for where uranium will be kept and used as a fuel, and then I am using the control rods as well to absorb the excess neutrons. Then I will also use the moderator, which is a heavy water. This moderator is used as a thing to slow down the neutrons, moderate the neutrons only to the extent that is required. And then we will also use a coolant, whatever the water that gets hot. Okay, from there here it will be transferred to the again another container. From here it will be sent for the electricity generation purpose. As simple as that. So currently we are going to develop indigenously. So these are called the pressurized heavy water reactor. One main significance is you need not enrich the uranium. Okay, so this is a major point here. So here we are using the uranium. India is also trying to develop the three-stage nuclear cycle. Okay, so I am not going into that thing. Some other day I will get into that thing. Very simple. Even that thing is also very simple. So from here, whatever the waste product that we are generating here, this is a waste product. This will be utilized, okay, to generate the energy along with the plutonium. Okay, so that's how we will generate the energy in the second stage, and then enough amount of plutonium will be generated in the second stage, that will be used to generate the energy using a thorium. Basically, thorium is not fissile like uranium. So once you burn it, it is not going to give you energy. It has to be turned into the fissile. So it is a fertile. It can generate energy if you use enough plutonium, but we do not have enough plutonium. In the second stage, we use the enough plutonium. from the byproduct of the first stage. Just have given you basic idea. So that is the 3 stage we are developing, because we have enough thorium but not sufficient uranium. So we can't depend on the other countries to import the uranium, because we also discussed about the nuclear suppliers group, which is a 40-member group, informal group, which is China is a member. So they take the decisions collectively and they are not willing to supply uranium to the India, because India is a non-signatory to the NPT, Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. All these things are interlinked. Okay, we have discussed even the Civil Nuclear Liability Act few days back, right? So this year there will be the question on either the Civil Nuclear Liability Act, applications of the nuclear energy, or what are the challenges associated with the nuclear energy, or about these reactors. Already they have asked about the fast breeder reactor, challenges about the nuclear water reactor in the mains. They can ask in the same way in the mains, or they can ask you in the prelims also. Clear? So we are developing these indigenously built PHWRs in the Gujarat, 700 megawatts. Clear? After going back home, revise the lecture that is present and revise. So components, so you have the fuel, then you have the moderator, a substance used to slow down the fast neutrons to the thermal engines, enhancing the probability of further fission reactions. So nuclear fission, that's what I said. Your neutron is breaking, fission. Okay, that is called fission. You are breaking down the heavier element. This is called the fission. In the you will also study naturally that is happening in the star to generate the energy is called the fusion process, where lighter elements like hydrogen they fuse together to generate the helium. That is how the evolution has happened. So we are not doing the fusion. This is the fission. Currently, nuclear fusion process is not practical, theoretical only. Studies are going on, research is going on. So far, we are not having any reactor to generate the nuclear fusion energy through the nuclear fusion process. So fuel, moderator, coolant is fluid circulating. So there is the one that carries the heat to the other container. Okay, and then control rods. Okay, to observe the excess neutrons. This can be boron, cadmium, hafnium. These rods will be used. And then overall the structures that use the containment structure. And then finally energy is generated and steam is produced and it is transferred. So all this is managed by the AERB, Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. So I tried to give, okay, I have tried to give the clarity, background, the conceptual background as well. This is the science and technology aspect. Okay, but if you guys revise, then definitely I'll get the interest. Okay, I'll get the more motivation. My motivation comes when you are really learning, when you are able to utilize the content. Okay, then definitely I'll get lot motivated and I'll try to feel motivated to provide more. So these guys are revising, these guys are studying, responding. So then of course, then I'll feel like adding more and more content. Okay, so see here I have first added only this much of the content so that you guys digest it. In the next class, when we discuss a nuclear thing, so if by then, if you are very clear with this basic, then we can add on this. Then we can understand what are the other stages, what are the other types of the reactors. Because Kalpakkam reactor is a fast breeder reactor which is there in the Tamil Nadu. Even that is in the news. We have to discuss that thing as well. Okay, so revise these aspects. Do not forget it. China plus one strategy. See, China, okay, we are bringing the manufacturing companies like Apple, Foxconn, these companies in India. So China don't want to transfer the technology. Now these Taiwan-based companies, okay, there are the employees of these companies. So China asks those companies to come back. Don't work in India. Okay, so this is what the article is saying. By doing this, putting the restrictions on these companies, be it USA or the China, they are causing more damages to these companies. So these are all profit-oriented companies. They are not concerned by which country, what country. Wherever it is feasible, they'll go and invest there. So it is a lesson in the future for the China that these companies will try to diversify their investment from the China towards the other countries. China plus one. So they may come and enter and invest more in the countries like India in the future. They don't want to depend on the China because China is putting such kind of restrictions. Their profit objectives are getting affected, hampered. Now for the India also, now the technological manpower is not available. Now for the India is also like kind of lesson that we have to strengthen our technology. So we should not be dependent on the countries like China for our manpower. So we should focus on the skill development. Okay, this is what the article that is mentioned in the your Indian Express has said. Okay, China plus one strategy. This word also should be utilized in the main answer writing. China plus one strategy. Supply chain resiliency is very important. Currently, our supply chain is dependent on the China. How many things we are dependent on the China? The prime important things we have discussed. Pharmaceutical raw materials. They are called active pharmaceutical ingredients, API. Write it down. Okay, API we import from the China. Solar panels we import from the China. And then we have discussed what was the recent thing, rare earth. Rare earth metals. Okay. 15 plus 2. Yeah, they are also 15 plus 2 are the rare earth. Okay, we'll discuss after the lecture that question. Okay. Okay. So historically, US imports from the China. So see here. Yesterday you have asked the question, how come China is holding more dollars? Someone has asked here. US imports from China were significantly higher. Previously, that ratio was 25, 5 times more. See, with the 15 times more. Whatever the USA imports from the India and China in comparison, so it imports 15 times more from the China. So if USA is importing more from the China, that means they are paying in dollars. So that's why you can imagine how the China is holding more dollars. Now this ratio has changed from 15:1 to the 5:1. Okay, in this way India is improving. India's strengths are also improving. So this article says China's economic weightage or economic hold is slowly coming down. Okay, so India has to make efforts to decrease the dependency on the China and improve our supply chain resiliency. That's what it says. Okay, you can go through. Rest of the content is not that. Okay, you just see these words and all. Okay, shift in US impact, China's challenges and all that is happening. Now BRICS, very important grouping. So I told you, what are those 3 major Bretton Woods institutions? Again, it has come. IMF, World Bank and the another one that has happened at that time. What is that agreement? GATT, General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs. Okay, all these institutions are chaired by which countries? All these institutions are primarily having the major voting share of Western countries, US and the Europe. Its chairman comes from there, its voting percentage comes from there, everything. They are ruling how much loan should be given, what kind of conditionality should be kept. So that's why in the 2009 time where developing economies came together and they have come up with the new initiatives like BRICS Bank, New Developmental Bank, Contingency Reserve Agreement, so that to reduce the dependency on these countries. Even in this BRICS meeting, the Prime Minister has said, these global South, their representation is very poor. Okay, they are underrepresented. Okay, so they can ask this same statement. Global South representation is underrepresented in the global institutions comment. Okay, because in the UNSC, whoever the countries, those 5 countries, can you say? What are those 5 nations in the UNSC? United Nations Security Council, the 5 permanent members. US, UK, France, Russia and China. Okay, only China here is available. Okay, so the 4 countries are from there. Okay, Russia, we can keep it somewhere in between. So there is underrepresentation of the developing countries, least developed countries. So the global policies will be dictated by these countries. So in response to this, BRICS countries, they came together, developing countries, and they have started the New Development Bank and this Contingency Reserve Agreement. Now they also wanted to develop the BRICS currency. So they don't even want to develop depend on the dollar. So why do the trade only in dollar? Create a new currency. This is what proposed under the BRICS. Then USA said, if you do this kind of things now, so I will impose on all the BRICS countries 100% more tariff. Okay, so the process didn't go forward. But whenever these countries now, even recently also, if anything it is done anti-West, then we will impose tariffs and the sanctions for all the BRICS countries. Currently there are 10 countries in the BRICS. So what are those 10 countries that I have given here? See here, these are the 10 countries. So they will be asking this thing. Next year, okay, last year I think, okay, currently the meeting is going on in the Brazil. Next year, India will be having a chair, like a chair of this. Okay, so meeting will be in the, I think, India. Okay, so, okay, see here. So these are the partner countries. So they have expanded. So why these things expansion, the Indonesia and all, so I have given here. So now, like in the SCO meeting, they did not discuss about the Pahalgam attacks. Here they have mentioned. Okay, here India is successful in bringing mentioning this Pahalgam terrorism. Okay, condemnation of the Pahalgam. The BRIC nations condemned the terrorist attack in the Pahalgam. India, which Prime Minister mostly described as an attack on the India's soul and the dignity. He expressed gratitude to countries that support India during this difficult time. Even the Indonesia is there still. It is a good achievement for the India. Okay, even in Indonesia, they'll so they are they are pro China a little bit, you can say. Okay, still this has come. Okay, this kind of call of action has come, and India is also talking about. See, that's what. Okay, same thing. Governance reform, global governance reform. Okay, see here, BRICS multilateral guarantee mechanism. The same thing. IMF provides a guarantee for your balance of payment crisis. So these will be working in a more democratic manner. So they are talking about trade settlements in the national currencies to reduce the reliance on the US dollar. Currently, you will get the balance of payment crisis when you do not have the dollar. You need to export a lot first to hold a dollar. Okay, if you do not hold a dollar, how will you import? So then these BRIC countries are saying, why to import and export only in dollar? Let's do it in the domestic currencies. But the problem is, who wants to hold the rupee currency? If the China takes the rupee currency, what will they do? Other countries not going to accept. You do not have strength and stability for your rupee. Okay, so that is also the problem. So currently we are not that kind of commanding economy. Next thing is, whoever is the commanding at the commanding stage, it is a China. Even the China does the trading in the dollar only. Okay, so these are the proposals. I don't think it will happen anytime near. Okay, but there are proposals to go towards the de-dollarization of the economy, not heavily reliant on the dollar. So that's what they are talking about. They are talking about the national currencies, opportunities. Okay, global governance. This is what I said about. In the climate change, they are mentioning about general things, security and all. So this meeting we have used also as a kind of opportunity to discuss with the China, to sit in talks with the China. Okay, so supply chain security, AI good governance, we are talking about all those things. Clear so far? Clear? Now, see here, this is plant treaty. Okay, international treaty on the plants' genetic resources for food and agriculture. So whatever the seed varieties are there, in order to handle those seed varieties protection, so this treaty talks about protection of those seed varieties for the food security, biodiversity protection. Only when there is biodiversity in these plant varieties, then there can be food security can be assured. So these are the things. So these are the key concerns that is given in the article. So what is the preamble? The preamble of the International Treaty on the Plant Genetic Resources for Food Agriculture highlights the importance of conserving and sustainably using plant genetic resources. It emphasizes the critical role these resources play in the food security and agriculture development, and it underscores the need for fair and equitable sharing of the benefits. So we will protect it, we will protect those seeds, conserve those seeds and share those things. Like for suppose India is holding, like say in the Chhattisgarh region is considered as a gene pool of the 22,000 rice varieties. So how many rice varieties you guys will consume? Only white rice. So see, Chhattisgarh is known for 22,000 rice varieties. Okay, it's very important. You have to diversify your eating basket also to get the energy from the different areas. So now for suppose India can sell these things, can share these seeds so that they grow in other countries. So they can become drought free, pest free, resistant free. Okay, these varieties, if they are very good. Okay, if these seeds are very good, then we can sell it, distribute to them. Currently, nations will decide. Okay, this is what the article says. Article 10, multilateral system of access and benefit sharing. Other countries can get the access and do the benefit sharing. It talks about the system. Okay, defines which plant genetic resources are included in the multilateral system. Initially focus on the specific crops. Later on, they are talking about the more crops. So, Annex 1 lists the specific plant genetic resources covered under the multilateral system. So, these are some important provisions. Basically, they are talking about, we will have the Annex 1, a list of plant varieties that can be shared with other countries with a proper money mechanisms without causing any kind of harm. So, who will decide whether to be shared or not? If India has to sell, India will decide. But recent amendments, they are saying, okay, the amendment seeks to expand the Annex 1. So, we will include the Annex 1. Within the Annex 1, more plant varieties. This is the first thing. To include all plant genetic resources, covering all plant genetic resources with actual or potential value. Okay, and here, this global treaty, they will decide. They will decide whether to utilize that or not. Okay, so India will not have any kind of say. So you will say, okay, India, give it to the Africa, give it to the USA. So you will lose that kind of sovereignty. Okay, you will lose that kind of control. So that's why Indians are opposing it. Currently, another point I have not mentioned here is, you can mention, India has signed this treaty. So amendments we are opposing. This came in force in 2004 itself. So India has signed the treaty. It is a good treaty. Okay, see here, Kerala Agriculture Minister has written a letter to the Union Agriculture Minister regarding the same thing. Farm organizations are opposing it. Bharat Beej, see here, role of the NGO and civil societies again. Okay, you have to utilize these things in the mains. When this thing was announced, okay, so once a question was, okay, what is the role played by the farm associations? See here again, farm associations, they are playing the role. Okay, they are trying to put a pressure on the government to not take that policy. This is democracy. You are putting your view forward. Indian Council of Agriculture Research has also prioritized the negotiations. Okay, so this meeting is going on in the Peru. Okay, so lack of consultation of the farmer and dilution of the control of the Indian government. This original treaty aimed to facilitate access to specific crops vital for the food security. Expanded it to include all the crops, majority of the crops, could significantly reduce India's control over the plant's genetic resources. Here, the amendment proposes expanding the scope of the multilateral system to include all the plant genetic resources, which would require India to share its entire plant's germplasm under the international terms rather than its own terms. So, you are expanding the scope under the Annex 1. So, once your plant variety is in Annex 1, you have to share those gene pool with the other countries, and India will not have any say in that. So, India is opposing it and definitely will not sign that. That is different. That is access and benefit sharing in the biodiversity. This is especially for the plant varieties. That is for the biodiversity. Okay. So, that is not this thing. Okay. This is for the plant varieties we are talking about. Plant and the seed varieties. Okay. That comes under the convention of the biodiversity. So, clear? So, international treaty on the plant's genetic resources. For the plants, especially for the plants, we will make a separate treaty. Okay, that is in general about the like biodiversity, where we are talking about the animals, okay, vegetation and all. Okay, here we are talking about the especially focuses on the food security. So you will share this variety so that there is no food security compromised. So we are willing to share access and benefit sharing, whichever is the things that are present in Annex 1. Now they are expanding the Annex 1 list. Okay, so we are not ready. So we have mentioned some 30 crops that are present in Annex 1, but they are asking for full sharing. Okay. Great Nicobar project, very important. So they are planning to develop a kind of Andaman Nicobar as a kind of tourism hub, and also see here they wanted to develop this international cruise terminal to facilitate the high-end tourism and establish a global port-led city with a value of 72,000 crore. Basically, our Andaman and Nicobar is not that well developed. There you will see the primitive vulnerable tribal groups, PVTGs. That means within the tribal groups, who are the primitive and the vulnerable, PVTGs. They are present in the Andaman, like Andamanis, Nicobaris, Champans. Okay, these are the vulnerable tribal groups. Andaman Nicobar is not a well developed area. Now they wanted to develop this as a kind of tourist hub. They are going to develop the ports also here. Shipbuilding, ship repair facilities, export-import port, airports. So that whenever you are crossing nearby, you stop at the Andaman and you visit for the tourism facilities. Okay, because this area is nearby to the which famous strait? I have discussed this thing. The famous strait which is China afraid of. Strait of Malacca. Okay, so we have discussed this thing. Strait of Malacca, that is present. In nearby area. So here China is trying to hold more control. So we don't want to lose our control and we want to showcase India's power. So that's why we are taking up this project. But once the project was announced, this area is known for the saltwater crocodiles, tribal people, okay, so many different types of the snakes, vegetation, evergreen forests and all. So all these things can get affected, can get destroyed because you are going to construct roads. I told you, you cannot construct such a kind of roads everywhere. So we need proper assessment. So they said this is the area where there is a convergence of the plate boundaries. Himalayas and Andaman Nicobars are part of convergent plate boundaries. Indian plate is Indo-European plate is converging with the European plate. We will study it in the geography. This is the convergent plate boundary zone, and here there is more possibility of the earthquakes. Once there are earthquakes, there can be possibility of the landslides and the tsunamis. 2004 tsunami. This was happened in the Andaman. Most deadliest tsunami has happened here. So this cannot be developed as a tourism spot because this area is known for the earthquakes and the tsunamis. This is what said by the critics. Then India has went for the environment impact assessment. What is EIA, environment impact assessment? EIA means, so we'll try to see the impact of any project on the environment. Then this will be prepared by the third party. Then locals will study it and approve it. Once they approve it, they will see how the impact can be minimized. Understand? Are you able to understand? We are studying the impact of the project, development of project on the area, environmental impact. So we all will study and will prepare a report. Then locals has to approve it. If the impact is huge, then local will say no, don't develop it. Okay, if the impact is minimal, so how can you reduce the impact further? Okay, so we will arrive based on this report. Finally, locals will give the approval, then we'll go forward. This is on the theory. But what locals will understand? The project report will be prepared by the developer himself. Environmental impact assessment. This is what currently the EIA said. There are no earthquake possibility in this area. So that report is getting criticized. So some huge 500 pages document was released. And who will study the 500 page documents? We ourselves will study. And their Andamanis, Nicobaris, Champagnes, would they study the documents that are present in English? So these are the challenges. Generally, whoever the project proponent is there, they themselves will come up with this document. See, this is the impact that this project is going to cause. There is no third party. Ideally, third party should do. If I am the one who is developing the project, someone from you should come and do the assessment. But I will only come up with the assessment. I'll say, no impact anything, little bit impact, I'll do this thing. So if it is approved, okay, they'll say approval of them. Even if the people do not approve, it will go forward. Okay, and it will go forward. Already the question has asked in ABPSC, TSPSC, UPSC about the EIA impact assessment and the challenges in it. So this was in the news. Okay, recently they have come up with this environmental impact assessment that says there is no low probability of the earthquakes. So that is getting criticized. Now what is the another thing, the 10-degree channel is between the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. You have these national parks here. Very important. This area UPSC has asked multiple times, who are the tribes present here? What is this 10-degree channel? What are the islands that are there? All those things. Okay. And then environment impact assessment, all those stages. Currently it is getting its power through the Environment Impact Assessment Act 1986. So not every project goes through the EIA. So you have various categories, category A, category B. So see here, so high impact projects that require the EIA. Category B, B1 and B2. So B2 projects are exempt from the EIA and B1 projects that require EIA and clearance from the state government. So this aspect that you need to show. By have these provisions as it is. Okay. So this is about the Khelo Bharat national sports policy. See here. See, our sports policy, it is for the, when we do for the sports, it improves our mental health. Okay, it also improves our bonding. For suppose you are all playing the game. Okay, who will be concerned about the caste? Who will be concerned about the religion? If you are involved in the game, no one will talk about the caste. What is your money, right? So, for suppose we are all playing the game, we will be involved in the game. So, if this is played at the rural level, in the rural areas, those caste dimensions will erode. So, people will involve in the games. The caste rigidity in the school, when you have played, would you ask what is your caste? No, right? So as we grow up, as we change, the societies are changing. So this has to be introduced. The sports has to be introduced. This will also change your mental health issues. This will also reduce your addictions. I told you, when there is no employment, what will the youth do? They will go for the addictions. So they need some kind of space to release their energies. So sports can play the role. And when you are developing the infrastructure there, ground there, so you are creating the employment, new employment opportunities, new job opportunities. You can train people for the hockey, football, volleyball, basketball. Currently, these sports are not being developed and we are not able to compete in the Olympics because we do not have the infrastructure. People have to find the infrastructure, invest themselves and train hard. If you can provide this kind of infrastructure, new talent come from in India and they can bring the medals, and this can also increase the India's soft power. So these are the principles of the sport policy, and that's why it is being proposed. But challenge is the infrastructure. Okay. So that's all for today. Please revise the content well. Okay. So we'll discuss rest of the things tomorrow. Thank you.